So as you think about this world we live in, where there's a lot of transactions, and you're looking at selling businesses eventually, either because it's just time and you're ready to retire, or it's time and you want to capitalize on a high value, or you've got a passion to do something else. I'm often asked, how do we make something as valuable as possible? And I'll give you a couple of ideas. Firstly, understanding how businesses are valued. And ultimately, most of the time, there's a calculation where someone takes something called EBITDA, earnings before income taxes, depreciation, and amortization, and they multiply it by some multiple. And so that's what they look at and call that the value. And then, the M&A people will try to hack some things off, and yours will try to hack some things back on and whatnot to come to a number. But it's really important to understand that historical EBITDA is very important. And so looking at the way in which you run your business and how you leave money in, um, really drives that value. So looking at the balance sheet, what's on the balance sheet, being a strong business people, using debt, but using debt appropriately, so not too much. All of those things are important from the numbers side. But I'll tell you what's really important from the soft side, and that is, have you really maximized the value of your business? And so, one of the things that I do is I call it the Avon approach because it goes back to the days when my wife used to sell makeup. And the Avon consultant would always come out with a piece of legal pad, and she'd sit with my wife and say, "So who do you know who wears makeup?" And you make a list, right? And well, that's a target list. You can do that with your company too. Just say you sell marketing, okay? So you're an advertiser, and you say, okay, who do I know who advertises? So that's and maybe that's your client list already. What else do those clients do? Look for some synergies. Or do you have 20 or 30 of them who are in automotive or who are in ag or medical or something like that? And what else what other value can you bring to them? When you get yourself integrated into a marketplace like that, if you're someone who's constantly bringing the new regulations into agriculture or medical or something like that, your business is more valuable because you have deeper hooks. We talk about it sometimes in the profession as saying, how many touches do you have with a business? If you have a client where you just have one touch, you provide just one singular thing, you're pretty easy to replace, honestly. They just go shopping for that thing. But if you're a business who your customers think, hey, they bring that service, they bring knowledge, and maybe they've even connected me with a couple of potential customers from your other client list. Now you've got a number of hooks, and it's a lot harder to replace you, and you actually start to feel more like family than just a vendor. And when you can have those sorts of relationships in your customer or client base, those are the soft things that drive value way more than EBITDA. And that's what the accountants don't like. They call it goodwill, right? It's the value that you actually bring into those relationships. And so that's probably the biggest tip that I would say is looking at who your customers are now. How can you bring extra value to them without spending a lot of money, but maybe just some extra time? And again, maybe it's connecting them with each other. You have somebody who makes widgets and somebody who buys widgets, and they just don't know each other because they're from different geographies or something like this. So those are some of the ways that we really drive value. And then the other thing that I would tell you is that most of the time, folks wait until it's too long to get the professionals involved. There's always an attorney involved from the M&A perspective. And there's always some sort of a financial advisor, and you need to find people who do it regularly, not the family friend, but people who do it regularly. People who've got a long list of exactly your profession and a long success rate and a track record. Because ultimately, the most powerful time to sell your business is when there's a strategic buyer who's got a strategic reason to want your business specifically. That's when you get the chance to overpay. Then if you built some goodwill in, now you've really found that perfect circle of driving business value as high as possible. But it starts 3 to 5 years before you're ready to pull the trigger on a transaction.